All right. Thank you everyone for joining us today. This is webinar lucky number 13 in a series of webinars for small business navigating the impacts of COVID-19. See, I'm being optimistic with my lucky there, right? So this has certainly been an amazing period of time where we've all learned a lot of new things. And hopefully we're going to find some great insights today to help you all navigate as we continue through this summer and dealing with the effects of this pandemic. I'm Barbara Coffey, Director of Economic Initiatives for the City of Tucson. We have another great lineup of speakers for you today. Today we'll focus on the hospitality sector and visit with proprietors and managers of some of our boutique hotels in Tucson, and then round out our discussion with Visit Tucson to get a look at what is happening in the hospitality industry across the region. As always, we'll take your questions as we go, so feel free to enter those in the chat box or the Q&A function, and we'll get to as many of those as possible in our time together. And we do ask all participants to stay muted since we have a large number of attendees. And we make all links to our previous webinars available at connecttucson.com. We'll record this session as well and make it available for everyone, usually as early as tomorrow afternoon. So we'll get started. I'm going to introduce our first guest speaker, Tim Heim. Tim serves as general manager of the Texan, a modern boutique hotel in the heart of Tucson. Slated to open, I believe, July 3rd. He'll tell me if I'm wrong or what's happening with that. It's exciting time.
July 3rd.
Oh, July 3rd is it?
July 3rd it is.
Fantastic. So Tim brings more than 20 years of hospitality and leadership to the Texan, having been in hospitality positions all across the country. Tim's last position prior to the Texan was as area manager and opening director for the XIII Hotel. I hope I said that right, an autograph collection in Birmingham, Alabama. And this is a return to Tucson for Tim. He held positions with Prism Hotels and Resorts, having served as managing director for Best Western Plus at the airport, and was area director of sales and marketing for that property, as well as the Radisson Suites Tucson. Tim, thanks for joining us, and I really appreciate you being here. Hopefully take a few minutes, share about the exciting renovations and opening plan for the Texan Hotel, and how you're moving things forward in the midst of all of this pandemic. Tim?
Sure. So we are very excited to be opening. So we will be opening July 3rd. The Texan is a member of Design Hotels, so we are affiliated with Marriott. So we are very excited to not only just open the property, but also be able to introduce the first Design Hotel to Arizona, and we will be the fourth one here on the West Coast. The Texan is a 112-room boutique property. We will feature food and beverage. We do have a nice pool area too as well. The design is very boutique style. Reminds you of Palm Springs, maybe going to some other boutique properties. We also have an area in the back where we will be doing some programming and some other unique functions too as well. When we started really going through this process when COVID hit in March, I've got the opportunity the past month to speak on a various podcasts with Lodging Magazine, Hotel Lodging Magazine. And one of the questions that I got quite a bit was, how did this affect you pre-opening? Well, to be honest with you, just like the hotels and the businesses that were already open, I mean, when you're pre-opening your property, we had a lot of the same challenges. So a lot of the challenges that we saw was with the furloughs with our vendors. We had a lot of delays with getting our deliveries. Also working with our brand. As you know, in the hospitality industry, and I'm sure that Philip will hit on this, but our industry was hit really hard. Within a matter of 2 weeks, a lot of the major brands like Marriott and Hilton ended up furloughing a lot of their executive team. So with that being said, when you're going through a process and you're working with a brand like Marriott, we do rely on them for a lot of things. We rely on them for building our website. We rely on them for building the booking engine with the brand. We rely on them on making sure that we're getting the standards up. So that affected some of the delays too as well. But when you look at the big picture, we are very excited about opening. And even though we've had these challenges, it has also given us the opportunity to look at where we need to go, what we need to do post-COVID, and how we move forward. So I just want to share a PowerPoint I put together, because what we did is we broke this up into 3 different areas.
Wonderful.
And if you can see my slide, the first area I want to talk about is technology. So technology is a big piece. So whether you're in the hospitality industry or you're in another industry, there's a lot of things that you can do with technology. Another factor we looked at was post-COVID cleaning. So how has the industry changed? What will change? So we took a deep dive into that. And then we also looked at the road to recovery. So it's basically taking the temperature of health and wellness solutions and how that's going to impact our guest. But one of the things that we did with technology is I really felt that we were very fortunate because our owners wanted to have a property that was very high technology driven. So really, to be honest with you, with the impact of COVID, we were already ahead of the game. But due to COVID now, we have actually enhanced our technology and we're adding a lot of different features. So I just wanted to walk through that today. So when you look at the hotel technology, it was really important for us to create a contactless guest experience. And we really had already started that with our property management system, Stay in Touch. Stay in Touch is a cloud-based system, and that platform allows guests to self-check-in. So we already will have self-check-in kiosk at our lobby when you check in. And then the third piece that we added to that was check-in through mobile phone. So we actually partnered with a partner called OpenKey. So in addition to the self-check-in kiosk and to be able to do everything through your iPhone or your Android phone, now guests will have the option to actually check in fully on their cell phone or tablet and bypass the front desk. So that was one of the technology features that we put in place to create a contactless check-in experience. We also wanted to make sure that we had an interactive tool to talk to our guests, because one of the things that we are doing at our property is we are strictly going digital straight across the board. So when I mean digital, we will have everything from a digital field guide, we will have digital menus, we will have digital hotel information too as well. So we partnered with a platform called Alice. And the reason why we partnered with this platform was we wanted to be able to speak to our guests in real time. We wanted to be able to talk to our guests. And not only that, we wanted to make sure that we can actually respond to our guests and still get them their needs and get them the service elements that they require. The other piece is Send-In. And Send-In is actually a tool that we can talk to our guests pre and post stays and send emails. So when we looked at what was happening with COVID, it was really important for us and for me that we were 100% transparent. The thing about COVID right now, especially in the hospitality industry, there is no playbook. So to say what's right and do what's wrong, we all don't have the answers. So one of the things that we wanted to do is we wanted to make sure that we were 100% transparent across the board. We wanted to make sure that we can communicate with our guests. We wanted to make sure that we can show our guests what we're doing. And we wanted to make sure that we have those tools in place that our associates can use to enhance that engagement. So when you're talking about transparency, the other thing that we did is we wanted to make sure that we were communicating COVID and all of the protocols to our associates. So I'm going to get into the next slide here in a minute where I'm going to talk about the things that we have done to make sure that our associates understand what's happening at hotel level and what the guest expects. Another piece that we're going to be adding is we're going to be putting Alexas in the guest rooms. Those will actually be arriving this week. So again, to enhance Alice, we wanted to make sure that our guests had another tool on a platform that they can either get directions, they can ask about area locations and attractions. So that's going to be a big piece for us. That's going to enhance our customer interaction piece. And the last piece that we looked at was point of sale. We, opening, are still going to be offering food and beverage. However, like most venues, it's going to be condensed. But we wanted to really streamline that process so our guests, if they were not comfortable coming into our lobby or coming into our restaurant or pool area, that they would be able to do that. And we actually have partnered with the platform where we're going to be able to do just that. So one of the pieces that we added is for in-room service. We've created a website through our point of sale platform for food and beverage, where guests will be able to do their in-room dining online. So they will be able to do their dining, create their menus, add them to a cart. They will pay immediately, and immediately when that cart is checked out, all of that information goes to our restaurant and it goes to our bar area too as well, so we can get that delivery facilitated immediately to our guests. But the next piece of that we really liked was QR code. So what we have done with this platform, we have been able to do our layouts and our diagrams in our dining room and our pool area, because our pool area is going to feature cabanas. And what you're going to find when you go into our facility is you're going to find a QR code and a little note at each table. that we have designated for hotel guests, and then outside in our pool area where we have our various cabanas. Now keep in mind, we are following social distancing standards, so we will have some things that'll be blocked off. But with this, it also gives guests the convenience of taking your iPhone or your Android phone. You just scan that QR code and our menu and our dining option pops up. Again, they will be able to place their drink order, their food order immediately, and it goes right to our kitchen and to our bar area so our associates can go out there and deliver that to our guest. Now, we are going to offer the face-to-face too as well, so we don't want to miss this piece. But again, when you look at COVID, technology touch points have been a big factor of that piece. The second part of that is post-COVID cleaning. How has this changed the industry? Well, I can tell you it has changed our industry. Typically, when you would have hotel training or you'd open up hotels, your training would be very disintegrated. So you would have a specific housekeeping training. You would have maybe a front desk training. You would have a valet training. You would have a food and beverage training, apparent to what's due with your facility. But now with COVID, this has really changed all the standards. So not only are our associates, front of the house or sales associates, we now have made all of our associates part of the housekeeping standard because we wanted to make sure that everybody was trained on housekeeping. We wanted to make sure that housekeeping standards not only rolled out to the guest rooms, but it's very, very, very important that they roll out to all the common areas, including the pool area, our fitness center, and other areas too as well. So we have totally enhanced that piece. Another thing that we have done is with food and beverage, we really took a new approach with that because again, you have a lot of touch points too as well. So we're going to be adding various hand sanitizing stations throughout the property. We'll have different things in the fitness center so guests can go into as well and maybe clean their own machines. We're also going to give the guests options when they go out to the pool if they wanted to wipe down their own cabanas or their chair areas. One of the things that we have done is we actually are going to be working with elastic sprayers. So we're also going to be that component to the guest rooms, but we're also going to be rolling that out throughout other facilities and common spaces too as well. And when you get into that guest engagement piece, again, it was just really important for us, and as we're actually going through all of this training processes this week and wrapping it up on Friday, we just wanted to make sure that all of our associates from housekeeping, the front desk, and food and beverage knew what to expect and understand why. So again, it's about that 100% being transparency. So the other thing that I would say to businesses, so whether you're in the hospitality or you're in retail, at this point, you can never be too transparent. So we have actually broken everything down, and we've worked really well with our partners to make sure that our associates have all the tools and understanding of what they need to make sure that we can proactively, in this environment, make sure that our guests know that they are going to get great guest service, they're going to have a great time, but we want them to know that they are coming to a very safe place that is following strict social distancing measures. The third piece of that is the road to recovery. So it was taking the temperature of health and wellness. So what we have done, and if you go to our website is live. It is thetucsonhotel.com. We have actually created a platform for us, which we are calling Tucson Clean and Safe. So just like many hoteliers, and I'm sure we're going to hear more about that today, we have also tried to be unique and put various protocols in place that our guests can expect when they go into the guest rooms and our hotel common areas. So the biggest thing for us was adding the electrostatic sprayer. So that was a one touch that we're going to be doing in the guest rooms. We're also going to be enhancing and doing some other high touch test points too as well. We will not be having many of our items in our guest rooms. Those will be delivered upon request through our platforms with our property management system. We actually will not have many of our items too as well, so that will be another thing that will be up on request. We've removed everything, and we have actually extended hotel signage, but not only have we extended the hotel signage throughout the common areas, we wanted to make sure that we had that signage available in the guest rooms too as well. So again, it's that transparency component, and we talk about that a lot because we wanted to make sure that our guests know what to expect when they come to the Texan from check-in to check-out. Also, when you looked at all the different hotel common areas, we have specific measures that we're doing with our pool area, our fitness center, our food and beverage area. So that tied into all of our training post-COVID prior to the opening. And then we added a piece, Book with Confidence. And what makes our Book with Confidence piece unique compared to the other brands is our guests will actually have the options to book a specific rate that is a safe rate through COVID. And we are going to make sure that we give them the guidance that they need and the flexibility that they need with bookings. So when you looked at everything that we were doing, again, we just wanted to make sure that we were delivering a message that was not just consistent with the CDC guidelines, but we wanted to make sure that we could actually have our own spin on that too as well and deliver that message. But we still are going to have that interaction face-to-face with guests. We have put strong PPE measures in place where all of our associates, just like many businesses, are wearing masks. Our housekeeping will be wearing gloves. So we will be following those strict protocols. And another piece that we are going to be adding is we will always be doing a daily morning stand-up meeting with all associates, but we're actually taking that to the next step. We will be doing 2 stand-up meetings a day, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and we actually have created a committee where we're going to have our associates be engaged with how we can impact our guests moving forward. So we have created a Texan Clean and Safe committee because it's really important for us that we also hear our associates' feedback too as well as listening to our guests. But we just wanted to make sure that we were creating that environment where everybody had a voice. And we realize we may have some things that may not work initially, although we feel very confident. But we also know that we're going to get that feedback from our guests and from our associates. We just want to make sure that we can listen to them and expand on that. And making sure that we can roll out everything that everyone expects. So when you look at this COVID piece, it has been a challenging time for all of us, but when you look at the bigger picture, there is a lot of opportunity. And I think if we can embrace this moment, and especially from a hotel standpoint, it's just really staying on top of everything. It's making sure that you're staying engaged. We are really right now in an ever-changing time right now. So that's going to be just my mission and my goal with my team and our management team, just to make sure that we're listening to our guests, listening to our associates, and staying engaged with all the guidelines and just making sure that we can keep abreast with that. And I feel if we can do that, other businesses can do that, we will be able to maintain this and keep things moving forward until we can get out of this COVID environment.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you very much, Tim. I think most people might think you're taking this, a risk opening at this time, but with all the preparation that you just shared with us, it sounds like you're ready. And so we're excited to see that. And I know that that's a positive sign. I mean, briefly, can you tell people what to expect at the newly renovated property that's now the Tucson?
Locals are going to be wowed. I think when they come to the property for the first time, when they see just all the touches and the local partners that we are going to be having there, we actually are trying to create some sense of normalcy. So if you go to our event calendar, we are adding programming too as well. We are doing a wellness piece, a food and beverage piece, and we're enhancing an art piece too as well. So we really have taken all of these measures and made sure that it's very safe for everyone, and so they're engaged. So if you're looking to get out, if you want to go to an environment where you can feel safe, we are going to create that for you. So we welcome you to come out and visit us. And, it's just going to be something unique to the area. And again, I just think locals are going to be wowed. So we also want to be Tucson's downtown living room as well. We're just very excited to be opening and look forward to opening our doors July 3rd.
Great. Well, we're all excited. And again, it is the essence of Tucson. Many of our hotels provide that. So we appreciate that. And besides, you have all those smart women behind you, Alice and Alexa. And
exactly.
That's right. And speaking of smart women, I'm going to transition. I would like to introduce Nicole Dahl. Nicole is creative director and general manager from Hotel McCoy, an independently owned, refurbished, mid-century modern hotel. It's no surprise that creative is in her title because everything at Hotel McCoy exudes creativity, from the Arizona artwork on the walls to the retro fridges in the guest room, not to mention all the cool events hosted at the property. Nicole is a University of Arizona graduate, poet, writer, and part owner of Hotel McCoy. Nicole.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. To those of you that have never heard me talk before, buckle up. It's always a wild ride. I'm not very polished, but I did come prepared today. So first, I wanted to share with you my screen.
Great. Awesome.
We're going to start off with watching a scene from one of my favorite episodes of Friends.
Oh, good.
You ready?
Yes.
Here we go. Pivot. 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 Shut up. Shut up. Shut up.
Okay. I call it the pandemic pivot. Basically, life since the late February has been the pandemic pivot. And someday I feel like Ross cheering my team on pivot. And sometimes I feel like Chandler telling the world to shut up when another change is in need, especially in the hospitality industry. It's been wild. And I was going to share with you today some of the things that we've been doing as far as cleaning or marketing. For those that know me, I am like a certified germaphobe. I've been flying in a mask since 2003. So this was like, in a way, almost comforting for me. I'm like, yes, everybody has to join me because I have been afraid of flu season. Also, it's terrifying because it's this horrible, horrible illness. Because of my gift of germophobia, the hotel has already had pretty high cleaning standards, but we added a few other things. We extended something about the hotel industry. Your housekeepers are usually timed because of labor. So we extended the housekeeping time for all our housekeepers by 15 minutes. And we got them UV wands. So some of the stuff that you hit with the disinfectant, they take the wand over afterwards, like the faucet handles, the toilet handles, the doorknobs, stuff like that. We have pretty amazing protocols for our common areas and an awesome team that's making all of that happen. But I wanted to talk about something a little different today. For those of you that know Hotel McCoy, we have always sort of rested on the foundation of human connection and old school hospitality. So when this hit and words like social distancing and 6 feet away came about, we kind of had to take a minute and pause and think, how do we pivot and still offer old school hospitality while keeping everybody safe? And whereas we made a conscientious decision when we opened to not do self-check-in, now it's got us looking like, is that something we need to consider? So there's a lot of changes that we have to consider as a business. But one thing to keep in mind is no day is like the next. So what works today may not work tomorrow as we're landing in 2020. And we just always do our best every day. All right. So something kind of interesting here. I'm not sure if can you see all 10 hotels?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So before COVID hit, the hotel industry was doing pretty good. And summer tends to be one of the best times to own a hotel. Not so much in Tucson, it's our slow season, but if we're talking America, countrywide, it's a great season. Kids are out of school, it's warm, people want to travel. So before COVID in the summer, occupancy would be around 80%, meaning that 80% of all hotel rooms were filled at any given time. When COVID hit, many hotels had to make the tough decision, do we stay open or do we close our doors? And a lot of them did close their doors. But of those of us that remained open, these are kind of a representation here. I just wanted to share with everyone how dismal this is for us. In the month of June, if you took 10 hotel rooms in America of open hotels, 8 of them would be empty, in the month of May. So you take 10 hotel rooms in America in May of open hotels, 8 of them are going to be empty, and only these 2 winners down here are going to be occupied. It's looking a little bit better in June, going down to 6 unoccupied rooms and 4 occupied rooms. To give it in another way, we all know the name Marriott. It's one of the hugest hotel corporations in the world, if not America, and it would be fair to say that they have a great amount of resources at their fingertips and a wealth of experience on their team. Well, Marriott is usually doing pretty good in the summers. A lot of their destination properties are experiencing occupancies of 80 to 100%. They reported in May a nationwide occupancy rate of 12%, and they're expecting to rise to 20% in June. And there's a time where hotel people would cry over 20%, but now we're celebrating. So that's fun. For me, this is my first hotel that I've ever done. My background is creative and project management. So it's been sort of an advantage because Hotel McCoy is just rounding off our 2nd year of business. So this will be our 2nd summer. So we were really just starting to get a hang of being a hotel. So the pivot is like I guess it's just something new that we're doing. We ran a hotel and now we're running a hotel in a pandemic. Another thing about our industry is we're losing $400 million per day in America. And 70% of hotel employees in our country have been laid off or furloughed, which is really scary. I say all that because to stay open as a hotel right now takes heart and courage and belief in yourself. So I asked myself when this pandemic hit, which way do I pivot? How do I do this? How do I keep relevant and in business, and more importantly, keep my employees employed? Hotel McCoy has several core values, and whenever I find myself questioning what's to next with our business, when in doubt, look to your core values and go from there. And for any small business out there, if you don't have a mission statement and core values, I suggest writing them down, even if it's just jotting them down on a Post-it note and putting them up on your board. It's really important to remember why you do what you do every single day, especially in times like this when it feels super duper stressful. So I'm not going to get into every single core value that Hotel McCoy has, but I will share with you two of them that are very relevant to navigating this year. One is community, amplify, support, and contribute. That means as a business, we ask ourselves with every decision we make, what does our community want? How is our community hurting, and how can we help? Another value we have is people first. All of our decisions are employee-driven decisions. These are actually more than buzzwords. They sound very buzzwordy, but I wanted to show you today just a few ways that we've been putting them into action over the past few months. So what does community look like? Getting groceries to those in need. When the pandemic first hit and we weren't sure what the stimulus package was going to look like, and we weren't sure how bad this virus was, but all we heard on the news is stay home, and if you are high risk, definitely stay home. And that includes elderly and immunocompromised. And Hotel McCoy is located in an opportunity zone, and a lot of our neighbors fall into that category. So we immediately went to action and put a call out on social media and worked with the neighborhood association, asking for anybody in our neighborhood that felt frightened to go to the grocery store to call us or email us, and we'd take care of them. So we were able to get groceries to over 20 vulnerable homes in our neighborhood. And we also launched a social media movement where other people were posting the same in their neighborhoods. It's kind of all about doing what you can in your space and then expanding that and making it contagious. I wanted to share with you a really cool story about these two people right here. This woman in the purple, she was a little bit outside of our neighborhood, but she had called the hotel many times, and she said that she was running out of toilet paper, she was running out of vegetables and milk. And so we decided we weren't able to go get the groceries and bring them to her personally, but we used an app called Shipt, which is on your phone. You can get stuff from like Target or the grocery store. So we ordered her groceries on Shipt, and we sent a message to the Shipt shopper and said, kind of explain the situations that I know that they're going to be out of some of the stuff, but get what you can. Here's her situation. And this person on the left here in the glasses, her name's Lily, and she was the shopper that ended up matching with us on the app. And once we told her what happened, she got everything she could through the app, and then she went out on her own time and own money and found everything on our neighbor's list here and brought it to her, and then gave her her phone number and kept in touch and has continued to keep in touch throughout the pandemic and helps her get groceries once a week. And fun story, Lily in the glasses is now one of our employees. So that was a great way to find an employee.
Wow.
What does community look like? It means supporting other local businesses affected. The first thing that we do a lot of times is we panic when stuff like this happens, natural disasters, global crises. And a great way to channel all that nervous energy is to helping others, because it continues to be sort of like a tornado of helping. So we used our social media, which has almost 10,000 followers, to promote other local businesses. Up top here, you see the Parish. They do New Orleans cuisine. They're located on Oracle, and they have an amazing menu, and they're doing takeout super safe. So we like to push people there. And down there is Tula Wellness. Dr. Ariana there does wellness IVs, so you can go get your veins pumped full of vitamin C and glutathione and all the stuff to keep you safe. So we just like to tell others there's other businesses that are afraid besides hotels, so let's push other people out to go support them, and it'll come back in good karma. What does community look like? It looks like housing artists in the hospitality industry. Again, when this hit, there was no stimulus package because no one knew what to do. but there was a lot of immediate closures of restaurants and hotels. And there was a lot of cancellations of live music, and there was cancellation of art shows. So it left our artists and hospitality industry here in Tucson very vulnerable. A lot of us who are in this industry live paycheck to paycheck, gig to gig. So when you cut off that source of income, it's scary. And many of these people were living in month-to-month rent situations without secure leases. So we created a grant program for artists and hospitality employees to give them housing. So far, since the pandemic hit, we've housed 21 artists and hospitality employees in Tucson, and some of them are still living with us today.
Wow.
So what does people-driven look like? Basically, in summary, it means the people that work for you are who make your business make it or break it. And in Hotel McCoy's case, if you read through our reviews, time and time again, you'll say, there's something about this place, there's something about this place. And it is truly our people, our employees are who we are. So when we make drastic decisions that affect them, we always include the employees on the decision making. In this case, when the pandemic hit, we had a lot of big decisions to make. Like before we had a mandatory mask proclamation, we asked our employees, do you want all of your coworkers to wear masks? Do you want guests to be required to wear a mask? What will make you feel safe? So sometimes we do this casually through a group text. Sometimes we do this with an employee survey. But what really helps when you're introducing new policies, which is a must in this time, is actually getting input and then listening to the input from the people that it impacts. What does people-driven look like? It's collective creativity. I have the title of creative director, but a lot of the creativity you see at Hotel McCoy comes from our employees. I'm not afraid to ask, what do you think we should do? And so in this case, business was very slow at first, and we were all a little bit scared. So I just asked, what are some ways that we can creatively market and creatively impact the community in a positive way? So over here, you see an employee painting rocks. We put a rock painting kit in our room service package. So guests could order for $5 a rock and all the paints they wanted, and they could take them with them or leave it in our rock garden. And it's been really cool. That's a great, fun thing to do while you're sitting in a hotel room and everything in the community is closed down. And then down here, we launched The Real McCoy. It was our Monday Instagram live talk show where we had a theme each week. It could have been about cooking or family or keeping in touch with people you love during the pandemic. And there was usually about 100 viewers, and it was a pretty cool thing we did. And now our employees are focusing on other creative endeavors. But those are just a couple of the ways that we continued to kind of have a relevant voice during all of this. Lastly, what does people-driven mean? It's giving people a platform to shine. I think everybody on this panel will agree that the hospitality industry, probably of any industry, has the most talented people. We have the artists, we have the musicians, we have the culinary geniuses. It's people, this industry attracts creatives because it allows the flexibility of hours. It allows you to take 2 weeks off and go in your van and tour gig to gig. It allows you to take 3 days off to go paint a mural that you were commissioned to. And it allows a steady stream of income in between those creative. And it also can supplement your income while you're building your own creative empire. So I encourage any business that has creative people working for them to tap into that and pay them to do what makes them happy. So obviously money's tight right now, but if you can offer one of your servers a chance to paint a mural in your business, or if you can say, hey, to one of your front deskers, do you want to sing every Monday on our Instagram? And that's what you see down here. We do Music Mondays, and this is a person named Amanda Rochelle, and she is a super talented singer. If you go on our Instagram on any Monday, you can see her song of the week. And something really cool, she had a bunch of people asking on our Instagram if she had ever recorded an album that they could buy, and she had said, I have never been able to afford to do that. So we did a GoFundMe with St. Cecilia Studios, and all the money that was raised will be donated to nonprofits that support the Black community. And he's going to actually record an EP for Amanda here, so she gets to have her own album. And then up top there is the starting of our pool mural. When Pima County released all of the new rules for the pool, it was a little overwhelming, and I started to order the metal signs to put on the wall that no one reads. And then you have to go tell them, you're not allowed to do that. But instead, I commissioned two of our front desk agents who are super talented artists to paint the rules as a mural on the pool. And people now actually read them and enjoy them. So it's kind of a neat workaround. A long time ago, when I was just doing social media management, I read this book called You Are What You Tweet. And it's by an author named Remini Kent. And two quotes have always stuck with me, and they seem more relevant today than ever before. One of them is, any day above ground is a good day. Before you complain about anything, be thankful for your life and all the things that are still going well. And I think as business owners in Tucson, just being grateful is really helpful to survive this. What is going well? The sun is shining. We still have employees that care about our businesses. I mean, every day you open your social media or the news and someone in Tucson is doing something to save the place that they work for or help another person. We have a really beautiful community here. And even though we're in this global crisis and we're navigating trauma together, we're doing it in a city that is a very hospitable environment for survival and thriving. The other quote that I love from her is, don't give up when dark times come. The more storms you face in life, the stronger you will be. Hold on, your greater is coming. And I remember that all the time. I absolutely despise the phrase, the new normal. This is not the new normal. We have, as a human race, survived pandemics before. We've survived world wars, and always we come back to gathering and human connection. And that is not going to change this time. It may take months, it may take a year, but the greater is coming and we will be stronger for it. That's all I have for today. I just want to leave my contact information and just throw out there, Hotel McCoy is always looking to lift up other businesses or collaborate or help in any way we can. So if you have any questions or you want to talk creative or anything, this is my contact information, and please feel free to do so.
Wow, that's awesome. Thanks, Nicole. I don't think our attendees thought they were going to get such inspiring messages as part of our webinar today, but they did. So I appreciate that. And just real quickly, I mean, you talk about the spirit of giving and how that's helped you. And we don't associate that often with hotels. We think about visitors and how we're trying to attract people from out of area, but you've talked about how it starts locally. Just real quickly, why is that? Why is that so important to your model?
I mean, the honest answer is just because that's what's innate in me and all of the people that work for me. We hire really intentionally. So we just have a bunch of social justice activists. We call ourselves like the real life care bears, which is exhausting sometimes, but it's just who we are. And then from a business perspective, it just makes sense because you really will have a hard time surviving without the support of the community in such a community-driven city. So even though most of our clientele are out-of-town visitors, I know someone in almost every major city in America. And if I'm going to call and say, you know, hey, I'm coming to Albuquerque, where should I stay? I'm going to call my friend, and my friend's going to say, oh, there's this great hotel here, and they do this and this and this. So, I mean, from a business point, it makes sense as well.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that. So
thanks for having me.
I'm glad. So we'll stay around. We may have some questions. I'm going to turn it over to Jerry Hawkins. Jerry is sitting in for Moniqua Lane, who was unable to be with us this afternoon, but we're glad Jerry could pinch hit. He's a designated broker with Tucson-based Hawkins Cole Hospitality and Investment Real Estate. He works with clients locally as well as regionally, along with national developers and hotel owners, banks, and insurance companies. His primary focus over the last 5 years has been as a consultant for operation development and financing of new hotel projects. He has assisted the Hampton Home 2 Suites, and that's currently under construction. He's been helping both projects for Moniqua, the Downtown Clifton, and the Citizen. The Downtown Clifton Hotel just completed an expansion, tripling its size, and the Citizen is just now breaking ground, a 10-room hotel at Stone and Jackson that will feature a high-end wine bar and on-site wine cellar. Jerry, it's obvious you all have been busy with these projects. I'd love for you to share a little bit about how you're faring at the properties and how you've been navigating this pandemic. Jerry?
Thank you, Barbara. Nicole and Tim, I really appreciate your presentations. You know, at 6:30 when I was brought in today, I was thinking I'd be just asked questions, and now I don't have any handouts or anything. So you're just going to have to take me for what I am. So quickly, the Downtown Clifton was originally a 10-unit apartment complex Moniqua bought 4 or 5 years ago. She converted those 10 rooms into a hotel and started operating the downtown Clifton, right to the south of the existing rooms was a vacant piece of land at the northeast corner of 16th and Stone Avenue. And she decided to add rooms. So we demolished a couple rooms, so that left 8 existing rooms and 22 new rooms. So the project currently operates today as a 30-room boutique hotel with a bar and a restaurant. I think one of the more exciting things about the downtown Clifton from day one is that all of the employees and the owner live within the, 6 to 7 blocks of the facility. So I think one of the things that it gives that operation is a real sense of community. When guests walk into the facility and want to find out about downtown and find out about what they should do, they're speaking with people that are truly engaged, that truly understand what the neighborhood means. And if you look at the results over the first kind of time of operation, guests clearly appreciate that. And I think as Nicole was talking about in terms of the Hotel McCoy, I think they're doing the same thing. So I think these smaller boutique hotels, you have to offer, when people talk about experience, it is really that neighborhood experience. It's trying to understand who your neighbors are and who your neighbors aren't, and really try to offer that perspective. The hotel, the new rooms opened in October, had lots of good success until, late February, early March, and then we've all experienced the COVID experience together. The expectations on rate were exceeded in January and February, and occupancy from day one has always been really high. The hotel today, of course, is experiencing a very low occupancy, but we're starting to see some recovery and bookings looking out into October, especially some events. Now, whether they're going to hold or not based upon what happens with COVID over the next 6 months, it's exciting to see that people are starting to book. But what we're seeing is that, of course, that almost all the travelers are coming by means of cars. We're not getting any guests anymore from airlines. And if you look at the airline traffic at Tucson International, last month it was almost down 95%. So I think we will all continue to get most of our guests by means of car. I think this summer, both of the McCoy and the Tucson are both going to get some guests from the kind of the feeling that people need to get away. I think we're going to see a lot of people driving less than 200 miles to get to get hotels. We're going to see them coming just for weekends. It's really interesting to watch the Phoenix hotel market right now, because I think it's a little bit ahead of Tucson. And last weekend, the occupancy in Phoenix hotels was over 50%. A lot of that occupancy is driven by the resorts, but still I think that the smaller boutique offerings that we're talking about today are going to experience that same sort of guest travel. In addition, I think if you can offer some extended stay type offerings, there appears to be a lot of guests that need that, in which with each of one of these hotels having a food and service offerings, I think that helps. The real key for the downtown Clifton today is really figuring out where the future guests are and finding them, et cetera. We're finding a lot of people that are taking road trips from Texas to California and stopping off in Tucson, and we're capturing some of those guests. So the key to the Hotel Clifton kind of in the next 6 months is to continue doing what they're doing. You know, fairly significant cleaning protocols that are new, et cetera, that I think that will all be well received. But the real key, as I said, is identifying who the guest is, how to market to that guest, and how to find that guest. Barbara mentioned that Monique's next project is a existing building that she bought at the northwest corner of Jackson and Stone Avenue. It was most recently the corporate headquarters for COPE, a community organization. It was the existing facility, the first facility for the Citizen newspaper. And then it was various different versions of things over time. It's a 3-story building with a basement that half the basement is above ground with really interesting windows. So you don't feel like you're fully enclosed when you're downtown, but it's pretty nicely lighted. In the basement will be a wine offering that we're really excited about. And then the top 2 floors are going to be a total of 10 rooms. It is going to be a upper end project, so we're going to try to push rates as high as we can to help you guys keep your rates high. And we think based upon our research that will be well received. So with that, no exhibits, no mottos. Sorry, just you know, looking forward to what we think is going to be a difficult but exciting next 12 months in the lodging business.
I appreciate that, Jerry. No, that's fantastic. And your insights about the travelers right now and where they're coming from are spot on. I think people are turning to the car right now to get here for their leisure time, right? So I think I appreciate that, and we are excited about the new property, and we love the creativity out of our boutique hotels. So now we're going to have Felipe Garcia bring us home. He's a returning guest on our webinar series. Felipe serves as the Executive Vice President of Visit Tucson, where he's responsible for developing tourism relationships between Tucson and Mexico, and works with the Tucson Film Office. Felipe is well known in our local hospitality community and can speak to the state of our tourism industry in the region. Move forward. Felipe, share a little bit about what you're seeing in this industry sector and some of the key strategies we've seen our hotels and resorts and others as they try to.
Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity, Barbara. Thank you for having me again on Visit Tucson. And when you talk hospitality, you talk Tucson, I mean, that's what I'm so passionate about. The folks behind brands or local hotels, Nicole, team, Jerry, that's what makes Tucson very unique in our hospitality industry. So that's what motivates me, excites me to say, this is where we're so different, the people behind and the people that are moving our hospitality forward. Nicole, love your pivot, because it seems that every day we're trying to do that. We're trying to find that sweet spot, where we headed, what's going to be making us unique. So let me tell you a little bit about what we're seeing in our plans for the near future. As Tim mentioned, we're adapting. We're learning to see what we have to do different these days. And let me give you an example. We had a TV crew a couple of weeks ago. They were here filming for a big network, and they've been here before, this same network, and traditionally we knew what kind of property they like to use and stay. And so when they call and say, hey, we're going to go to Tucson, we were going to send a lead to the usual profile of hotels, and they say, no, we need an hotel that will allow us to get our crew to drive, go to our rooms, don't have any kind of physical contact, and be in and out of the hotel without being able to connect or be mingling with other guests. And of course, we ask why. And the reason why this is insurance companies. It says now all the insurance companies in Hollywood, when you're filming, they're requiring you less points of contact with the community or individuals based on COVID-19. So for us, it's now an adapt that now we're putting together when we're talking to film crews that we're letting them know, hey, in Tucson, we have these hotels that can offer you that touchless movement back and forward between your hotel and your vehicles. Second, we have all those protocols for health. And third, actually, we've been talking even with hospital partners here in Tucson, that in the case that they need some testing, that it can be done on property, on site, from local doctors. So we're adapting our product and offering based on that market. We're still seeing a lot of challenges, and Jerry mentioned that leisure travel that is driving. I mean, we're all in the world going through these issues, and every 2-3 weeks I have a call with people from tourism offices in Madrid, Barcelona, Cali, Colombia, and we talk about what's happening in your country, your city, what you're doing to reopen, get best practices, but we're all in the same boat, and we're all struggling with the same scenarios. Now, something different that we're seeing here, that's because of our increase of COVID-19 cases in the last few weeks. We have some states like Kansas. Kansas now is mandating their residents or people from Kansas that return from Arizona to self-quarantine for 14 days. New York might be doing the same. New York, it's being taught that they might also impose a 14-day quarantine for people from New York returning if they have visited Arizona. So that's a big challenge we see right now. But as Jerry mentioned, and we're talking to our hotel partners, we know the recovery is going to come in phases. And the first group that is coming to our hotels are local residents looking for staycations. They've been staying home. We need some space. We need to go into the pool and then be at Nicole's property and get a nice local beer, craft beer, and sit outside. So we are seeing a lot of staycations. We're seeing Southern California market and Texas market and Phoenix people driving down to Tucson. So for us at Visit Tucson, that's kind of our first step. It's right now marketing, promoting, advertising in those drive markets in those areas. The second phase that we're expecting that will come hopefully soon is that Mexico market. As you know, every year, the state of Arizona receives about 23 million visits by Mexican nationals. So we're ready. And as you know, there's a temporary closure and a partial closure of the U.S.-Mexico border. So we know that the moment that closure restrictions are lifted, then we'll be able again to get that market here to Tucson. Is going to be huge for us. So we're expecting that. And then we know that fly market domestically, and then the last one to recover is going to be that international traveler. Those are the stages we're seeing, and we're building our recovery plan and our recovery program in those three areas now. One part is marketing, so we need to tell the story about Tucson, what we're doing. Second part we need to do is also still talk to journalists about doing stories about Tucson. But also in the meantime, we have to work and been working with government agencies that are going to help us in that process to come back. Let me give an example. We know, again, Mexico is a very good market for us. We're expecting that recovery, but this year, it's when a big number of Mexican nationals have to renew their visas to enter the US. Unfortunately, the consulates have been closed. So a lot of people have not been able to renew their visas. So we've been in contact with State Department to see, okay, how can we expedite, how we can make it faster, because we want people to be ready to travel to the US once those restrictions are lifted. Second, we're talking also with US Customs and Border Protection about, okay, once you open the border, what's going to be the protocol to come over? What are going to be the guidelines? We need to educate and we make it easier and seamless to individuals to come. So on the meantime, we're working with a lot of agencies to, again, ensure that we have that visitor coming with ease, coming back. And last couple of things I want to share with you. First of all, and Nicole mentioned some data, and also Jerry, about occupancies. We got the data from May of 2020. In Tucson, our occupancy, so as Nicole mentioned, of the hotels available in Tucson, 33.3% were occupied in the month of May in Tucson. And if you're looking, I mean, in the US was 33.1, that was the average. Tucson was a little bit above the average at 33.3. Phoenix was at 36.7. But those destinations that they depend on that group activity, those are the ones that are hurting the most. Scottsdale had an occupancy of 26%. Compared to 72% last year, May of 2019, they went down to 28%, so 26% on 2020, on May of 2020. So the group activity, the conventions and meetings, those are going to take longer. We're going to see first that leisure traveler, small gatherings, small groups, We know there's a lot of pending weddings, a lot of people that were trying to get married and now they have to push their wedding, hopefully, but that will be the case, and they're still going to get married in the next few months, and that again they'll use our facilities. So for us at Visit Tucson, what again the message we're giving out, what we want to tell the world. First, we told people we were not going to do a lot of pushing of our Visit Tucson and come to Tucson because we knew that everyone was kind of waiting. We wanted to be very prudent with our marketing. So our approach was change a little bit. And let me show you our website. Was give the message of open spaces, open hearts. We knew that a lot of people are looking to that way to escape, as Jerry mentioned, and Tim knows this very well. People from New York, that's our #1 market in the US. If we talk about expenditures, and it's because people from New York, they want to get out of that craziness, commotion, hectic life, and close spaces. And we know that Tucson, we have that amazing open space, open scenery that we can go and again tap into those interests. And the second phase for us has been, now that we know that we have those open spaces, it's going into the summer deals. And this is the message that we're pushing in those markets, that we're pushing in Phoenix, that we're pushing in Southern California and in North Mexico, talking about, again, anything from come and enjoy a resort spa or the hotels and bed and breakfast and ranches. And you see a beautiful picture, thank you, Nicole, from Hotel McCoy, and gastronomy as well. So again, we're pushing messaging to a very subtle way to start bringing that traffic market, that drive market initially that Jerry mentions, back into Tucson. It'll take some time to recover. We know that, but I think that we have the right partners in the community and with the right messaging in those markets. Hopefully we'll be able to take off and we hope for a positive and strong recovery in the future.
Wow. Awesome. Thank you, Felipe. And I think with all of our hoteliers are doing, it's evident that we'll be able to, I think, encourage those visits again. And so, you know, I like what I'm hearing. I've been inspired by what I've heard, and I'm excited about the months ahead. And as Nicole said, in ever her optimistic way, is we can only, you know, every day is going to be a good day and it can only get better, right? So we're going to keep doing something new and exciting to keep moving. And so I appreciate that. And I think that was really good information and a positive sign. I think we all just have to keep doing our part. I want to share with you one more resource for those of you with small business, whether hotel, whether restaurant, whether attractions. Pima County and the city of Tucson partnered to launch the MyHound app. So you can now go and find a way to bring additional revenue and customers to your businesses at no cost for a limited time on the app. You can sell gift vouchers and offer some coupon promotions with zero risk. And if you're the consumer, you should go and download the MyHound app from your favorite app store and start taking a look at all the great local deals that will pop up right around your location. And this is just another great way to help support our local merchants as they build back their business, try to bring some new customers back through the door. So again, feel free to message me about that if you want more information. But if there are any lurking questions, it looks like we've had a lot of appreciative remarks in the chat room, so I appreciate that. And as always, if you do think of things that you want to know about, I'm happy to connect you to our panelists later. So I appreciate again all of you for taking some of your afternoon to share with us. I think it was time well spent. We will be back again next Monday at 3 p.m. So be sure to register when you see the email invite in your inbox. It's our goal to keep you connected to resources that you need as we work through this COVID-19 pandemic. You can also call our City of Tucson Economic Initiative Small Business Hotline at 520-837-4100. And you can check connecttucson.com for resources for these webinars. You can sign up for our newsletter and email updates there as well by scrolling to the bottom of the homepage. So again, thank you all for joining us and making this a great webinar this afternoon. And with that, we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, team, Paul and Jerry. Great to see you guys.
Thanks, guys.